Hi, welcome to another video from Project Ride the Pennines. This time I'll be giving a quick review of the Hubsan H501S Brushless drone, which is a relatively inexpensive drone available for around £150 on Amazon and eBay. There's the official how to use guide linked in the video description. This is my impression having owned and used the drone for around 2 years. I bought the drone firstly to get into drone filming and to get some different camera angles for my videos, and partly to try and get some external views for my often point of view heavy ride videos. So, in the box you get the drone itself, which is pretty robust and quite big. The arms of the rotors are not retractable or foldable like some other models out there from DJI, but the rotors themselves do detach quite easily. When I'm carrying the drone in a rucksack, I tend to keep the rotors off and install them as I need to fly. You also get a spare set of rotors in the box, which is pretty useful, as when you're learning to fly you will crash and the rotors can get damaged fairly easily. The camera is located on the front of the drone and the battery door at the back. The SD card goes in a small slot on the side. Slightly strangely, the drone doesn't have an on-off switch. You just connect the battery and disconnect the battery when you want to turn it off. In the box you also get the remote control, which is a fairly chunky unit itself, but incorporates a screen, so you're not relying on your phone or a wireless connection with a phone for control. You also get a pretty good sunshade for the screen, so you can see what you're filming even in bright sunshine. Mine came with a rechargeable lithium-ion battery pack for the drone and the remote and the charger. And I also bought 2 more batteries for the drone as I wanted to extend the flight time. Especially when you're learning to fly, you tend to just burn through batteries without realising how much energy you're actually using. So this video will mainly show what the drone is like in terms of video quality, whilst to give you a rundown on how easy it is to fly and some of its idiosyncrasies. Firstly, I must say it's really easy to fly and has been a great drone to learn on. It doesn't have many or any automatic flight modes, so you have to learn to control for takeoff and landing fairly quickly. You can see that I'm still quite jerky with some of the movements, and there are some takeoff and landing shots too, so you can see what that is like as well. Having to carry the drone and the remote takes up quite a bit of space in your bag, but on many occasions where I'm out in the mountains I'm relying on my phone as an emergency contact device, so I wasn't keen on using that and using up the battery whilst filming. So that's a good point for the drone. It's also pretty fast in flight, so you can move it around with some precision and speed. That said, it doesn't have an obstacle avoidance mode, so you better be sure you're not flying into anything solid. The camera shoots in 1080p, which is pretty good quality for most things I need, YouTube, etc., as most people watch on a mobile device or a lower res portion of their screen. And as you can see, the auto exposure and white balance is pretty good, as it copes okay with this footage shot on a bright day with me flying deliberately into the sun on several occasions. The functions on the remote are intuitive and well labelled anyway, and nice and big and chunky. The return to home function works well enough, and it will also do this if you lose a connection between the radio control, or the remote control, and the drone. But generally this connection is pretty strong. I've never ever had a problem with this, even after several crashes, and I've actually had to purposely turn off the remote to test the feature a couple of times in order to check that it was working. It did work. One thing you'll see clearly from this footage is the drone has no gimbal stabilization of the camera. This means you have to fly very smoothly, but even then small changes of direction or acceleration or deceleration have a big impact on the footage. I found this drone works best for fairly high up sweeping or panning shots that allow you to move at a constant speed, so the drone's motors keep it at a consistent angle and pitch. The gimbal action of many other drones is what makes them so much more expensive. Consider DJI Spark as their small entry-level drone, which has a gimbal but costs around £400 without a remote control, relying on your phone. Flight time is about 12 minutes on one battery pack, which is okay, and you can easily fit more than that amount of footage on a 32 gig memory card. You'll see the drone is pretty stable in a stationary position, so again I've used it more for tripod type shots, riding or running past the drone from its elevated position. It does have a follow me feature, which I've shown here, which tracks the GPS of the controller. It's not a visual tracker, which is actually good because it doesn't lose you if you go behind a tree for a minute, but equally it's not so good as with no gimbal. The drone tends to swing as it speeds up and slows down and changes direction quite jerkily, so you might find your subject goes out of shot a little bit. So, in summary, it's an inexpensive and responsive drone to learn to fly for wide and high up tracking shots. It's not so good at rapid direction changes, as you really notice the lack of gimbal in these situations. If you like this video, please click that like button, and if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. See you again.